Sarah, how you doing?
I am
We are
great.
live. I think we're live. I'm just checking. We are live. We don't have Michael tonight. We would massively appreciate it if there's anybody there to send us a wee comment to let us know you can hear us. I can see there's some people live, but we are hosting and we are I don't know what we're producing as well. Is that the word? At the same
I
time.
love how you say we, but you're doing all of this. I'm just over here going, oh,
Look, you're in this with me, Sarah.
that's great. Well done.
I think we're good. I have no idea. Right. So hopefully we are. I was hoping I could share this round and about as well. So Sarah, see while I do this, do you want to introduce what we're doing tonight?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I'll leave
Perfect.
it.
Yeah. So, thank you to everyone who took part in the poll. Especially some of my students that I asked very nicely to take part in the poll, and plantar heel pain came out on top. So they asked us to do a search on plantar heel pain and how we might implement our findings from that search into clinical practice. So keeping it really practical, that's our favorite word. And we're going to do a lot, Sarah Jane, is going to do a live search. And from that search, we're going to have a look at some systematic reviews, maybe some randomized controls trials, and we are going to see, okay, what's coming up tops and what might we change in our clinical practice, or what might we spend more time in, or what might we edit or change. So that's the plan. And I know I'm definitely in need of updating some of my stuff. So I'm really looking forward to it as well.
Hopefully we pull it off, and hopefully it kind of pulls everything together. I still can't see if we're live or not, so hopefully.
We are. It says live.
Does it say live? Right, okay.
I think so. Yeah.
It's recording and stuff.
Well,
Sorry,
I can see you. It's fine.
Can you see? I can see you. I can hear you. Right. So hopefully we are live. It says we're live somewhere, but oh, there we are. Look, hello. There's us live. I can see.
Oh. We're so professional.
It's always your worst nightmare, isn't it? That you think, oh God, have we done this right? So that's fine. We are live, and sorry for that. Faff, I suppose that's it. But that's how it is when you're doing this on your own. My goodness, right? So we're going to keep this really practical, as Sarah has just said, and it's allowing pulling this all together. So we're going to do the search for heel pain. You've all voted for that. Thank you. And we're going to do this live. So let's just do it. Questions are welcome. This is raw. This is dirty. We're just going to see what comes up. We kind of half know what's going to come up, but let's just do it live. So we're going to pull up PubMed and let's go for it, Sarah. Right. So apologies that I've got two screens here. I've got a screen here, so hello, but then my other screen is over here. So this is a screen I'm going to be sharing with you. So apologies, you're getting the side of my
It's a great angle.
That
side profile.
Hide my three chins. Right. Okay, so I'm going to present and share my screen. Hopefully it asks me how to do that. Entire screen, that's probably what I want to share, isn't it? You want to see it all. So I think that should be there. Can we all see that screen? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit small. I think.
Is it small? Do you want me to make it bigger? Bigger's always better.
There we go.
Is that good? Right, so this is PubMed. So I think we showed them this on week two. Week one, week two.
Week two.
It was when we did the search, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The first one was why bother at all with research? So, why bother? Who cares? Why bother? Right, so this is PubMed. If you don't know what PubMed is, this is basically a database. Most of the stuff that you'll find on this is open source, so free. You don't need to pay for it. So it's a really good way to search. So what I thought we would do is, hold on, if I pull this up, we want to go into what's called an advanced search. So see when you go into this, let me check, see if I can get into this. Okay, PubMed.
Is there any way you can plus it a little bit more? Like zoom in. If you don't control and the plus.
Let me see. Can I plus me? Is it really tiny? Browser lost connection to your. Can you still see me? Not that you want to see me.
I can't see you, no, but I can see your screen.
Oh, that's maybe not a bad
Oh,
thing.
I see you now.
See me? Yeah, it's quite small, isn't it? I don't know why. Hold it. Let me try doing that, because that doesn't really give you.
Yeah. If you hold control and plus, that works for me, but I don't know.
Let's give it a go. Control and let's make it bigger. Come on, give us. Yeah, it's having a think. Look, I've got the wheel of
Thinking
doom.
about it.
Having a wee think. Oh, we've gone crazy.
And then you go control minus.
We've gone crazy. Okay, bear with us while SJ brings this to a normal size. My goodness, right, control minus. Goodness gracious. It was having a wee think there, making it small. See, this is live. This is real live.
This is real live. Yeah.
Real,
but this is all part of it. And I
absolutely.
I can see why plantar heel pain was
one
of
the
chosen things.
My computer here, Sarah. I can't even. Oh my god.
Sorry.
Oh, there we go. That's all right. Let me see if we can get all this back up. Sorry, guys. This is real live madness. I need a different window to the one that I'm on. 2 wee seconds, and we'll get it all back up. Right, I'm not doing that again, Sarah.
Yeah, no problem. No, I was just going to say, I understand why plantar heel pain was chosen, because we just see it in clinics so much.
Massively. And it's one of those, oh, there I am again. I'm going to remove that for now. Let me just stop.
And I find even, and we'll see it here when we're doing our search, like we'll say plantar heel pain, plantar fasciitis, plantar fasciopathy. There's so many names, and sometimes I think that's why the search can be that little bit more difficult. Because I know that's what I was going, what else can it be called when I was doing my own search? So yeah, definitely, I think it made a lot of sense for it to come up in the poll.
I'm glad it did, actually. It's quite a good one to do. Wait, hold on. I've totally right. I'm still going. Oh, there it's working now. Yay. Right. Okay. I will share my screen again. Sorry, guys. That was an absolute.
No. Look, we played it off. So cool. Played it off so well.
Right. So. Okay. And then,
look at me, my filler, talking about heel pain.
I know, like, oh my goodness. Right, there we go. So then that one, and then share, and then hopefully this will come up. Everybody, there we go. Now it's obviously small at the minute. I'll make it big, and then I can slowly make it a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's perfect. Yeah, that looks way better.
So when you go into PubMed, right, when you go into PubMed, right, see how when you look at this and you can see down here, if I go a wee bit bigger, right, see it says advanced there. That's where you want to click, right? Don't just do your search in here.
No.
Go to the advanced, okay? And there's so much more you can do in here. What we're going to do is I've already thought of my search terms. Now, we could do a whole session on search terms. How you know what search terms to search for, this is very crude, and is when you're reading things. So if you think about, like, obviously we're looking at heel pain, so heel pain wants to be in there, and we want to have treatment and management. So those are kind of key words that we want to be searching, and you'll notice we've used and or. So those kind of boolean operators allow us to make sure that I want whatever I'm searching for to have heel pain, and it needs to have the causes, treatment, or management. If it doesn't have that and that, it will not come up. Does that? Yep. Hopefully that makes sense. So the or means causes or treatment or management. So it encompasses all of that. Whereas the heel pain has got to have and the treatment or the management. So that's where I've went with that. And I'm going to just add that down there and then let's just see what comes up. Just do a search. 64 results. That's
And
no
we
bad.
go into more detail about when to use and, oh, sorry. I
I
was saying
think that was
we
week
go into way
2.
more detail about when to use and when to use or in one of our earlier, in week 2. So if you scroll down on the feed, if you want to know more about that, we do talk about it a lot.
Perfect. So we'll not bore you with that tonight.
Yeah.
Right. What we've got here is you can start to think about it. What do I want to look at? Do I want to find research 1 year, 5 years, 10 years? So for the basis of this, let's do 5 years. That's 1 year's maybe a bit small. So we've now got, based on that, we've now got 284 results. Now I don't know about you, Sarah, but I'm not reading all that.
Nope.
So what I would usually do, and Sarah, you might do this differently, but how I would do this is I usually go for systematic reviews first. I start there.
That's literally, I have it in my notes here.
So, and the reason being, right, a systematic review reviews all the stuff out there and it pulls it in and it synthesizes it. So it's kind of doing a lot of the work for you, right? It's a good place to start. So I'm going to start by searching systematic reviews only and just see what happens, right? Let's see how it changes that. 27 results. Now that's more like it. Now the first one here, that number 1, 2021, Management of Plantar Heel Pain, a best practice guide informed by a systematic review, expert clinical reasoning and patient values. Let's see what it's saying.
Yeah.
We'll have a wee look.
And the other thing you were chatting about with systematic reviews, I suppose when we were discussing in episode 4, we talk about the hierarchy of evidence and kind of what's gold standard and what's including randomized controlled trials and all of that. So that's where systematic review, it's just that little bit more kind of, there's more information, they've gathered more reviews, and it's seen as that little bit more, I suppose, validated maybe. It's
that hierarchy of evidence.
Yeah.
It's not that the other ones don't have their place, because they do, but it's just it's that kind of seen as the kind of top of the triangle.
And we go about that for like an hour. So
triangle. So it's a good place to go. I'll always go for a systematic review first, and then I start dissecting and looking at the randomized control trials from there. So right now, you've asked us to look at what's out there for heel pain, right? And how you can then use the evidence that's out there, that's up to date, and apply it in your clinical practice tomorrow, right? That's what we're going to deliver. We're going to look at this research, and we're going to show you and discuss how you would then start to build your treatment protocols for your clinic. So here we've got a systematic review. Now, when you first click on this, it just gives you what's called the abstract. So you can see here, you've just got the objectives, the methods, the results. It doesn't really give you enough information. So you do need to go in to the actual paper. So if you look at the far right-hand side, you'll usually see there's the title where it's published, and you'll see you've got the British Medical Journal, and then you've got the PMC, and you can see that big one there. It says free. Fabulous. Loads are free. Most of them are free. So you can click whatever one you want. So we'll click that, and magically we should get it opening if our internet decides. And there we go. And you can do the PDF if you so wanted to. You could save it onto your computer. So what I might do here, Sarah, is actually just click that.
Yeah, I was going to say, just bring it up a bit closer.
It'll be better. Right. Oh, let's make that bigger. Goodness gracious. Maybe. Oh,
here we go. Yeah, perfect.
That's fabulous, isn't it? Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Open access. Good to go. Job's a good one. Right. So what we've got here, we are looking at, what is this paper telling us? Management of plantar heel pain, best practice guide informed by a systematic review, expert clinical reasoning, and patient values. Right. So would I read all the? I already know that it's in the vicinity of what I'm looking for. I might do a little bit of the background reading. Like, we spoke about this in last week's or the week before, or the month before, Sarah, where your background or your introduction gives you loads of great stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love going in there. But for this, what we're wanting to find is, what did it find? What's the findings? So we're really looking for the actual meat of this, not all the back. You already know all this. You're looking for the heel pain stuff. So
Even in this kind of one, right away, I was really interested in the methods. And normally, I know we spoke about it before.
Yeah.
Normally, the methods, I'm like, oh, not for me, no thanks. But actually, because when you read the title, you're going, okay, it's not only it's a mixed methods, yeah. So they have their systematic review, expert clinical reasoning, and patient values. So I was, yeah. So this is probably one of the only papers I properly read the methods.
Well, it's it's important. So it's basically it's got interviews and patient surveys. So it's actually asking the patients for their feedback as well. So there's some qualitative data in there as well. So what we've got here is plantar heel pain is such a big thing because it could be many things, and not all plantar heel pain is plantar fasciopathy. So it's given us a little bit here how clinicians should treat, improve the function, but I might read that, but I would usually go, if I'm looking for implementing stuff, like what's the best practice, I would usually go down. Now, methods and things, probably for this, you wouldn't really be interested so much in that because it's telling you about how it's been registered and it's been registered. So Prospero is basically just, if you're doing a systematic review, it's good practice to register it before you do it. It shows that you're not changing things along the way. So it's a better way. It's a stringent way of doing it. So that might be of interest to you. But for most clinicians, you're really just looking at what's it telling me.
I also found in this one, well, when I did my own little search and I was looking at my systematic reviews, one of the main things that I suppose I would be looking for is how many trials they included. And this paper has like 51. No,
it's quite,
I think it actually does have 51. Whereas I was looking at another similar one from 2017, it had 5. And yet, if you didn't look at that, you wouldn't. You might use a conclusion that wouldn't necessarily be all the information. So again, I know we said don't worry too much about the methods, but if you're deciding, look, I'm actually going to implement this into my clinic, I'm going to use it on patients, it's a little bit of a good idea. I also really loved that image they had.
I'm going to go back up to that in a wee second. Where it's going into all the. It's got shockwave there, it's got the taping there, it's got the rehab there, it's got the dry needling, it's got all the different modalities from the papers that you would expect, the calf stretching, the low dye taping. What I really like about how this is, so if I go back up, right, that image that Sarah was talking about, so essentially the results from this, this is just a prisma diagram showing us how they've found the evidence.
The scoping,
right. So this one here, right, there's that one, and then I don't know if you spied this one, Sarah.
I've just downloaded it.
Right. It's really good, actually. So you could actually have this in your practice. Now, let me just make that a wee bit smaller so it fits. So let's have a look at what this is telling us. I love it when papers do this and they give you a good infographic that gives you, sorry, my computer's.
And there's even a timeline and stuff. So I think for like my clinical practice, I'm going, okay, timeline, thinking of my reviews, all of that.
Yeah. So here you go, right? So you've got from 0 week, right? So the start of treatment, right? 16 weeks. And then it's giving you down here your evidence level. So it's strong, like, your core approach. So your core approach will be things like when you're reading this paper, it'll be your patient education. We chat about that earlier. So educating your patients, that's always going to be there. Your stretching and strengthening. And there'll also be, change of footwear, those kind of things, right? Interestingly, for those of you, orthotics will not be in that core approach. No. Shockwave will not be in that initial core approach. Injection therapy will not be in that. Low dye taping will be in it. So taping is in there for that.
And I was chatting to you, Sarah Jane, earlier, and I was saying that currently, and this is something we'll talk about after, but currently I'm not spending the time taping, and now I'm reading this paper and I'm going, right, I'm spending a lot of time on the patient education, but should I take a little bit of time out of that and put it towards taping? Well, actually, looking at this paper, I absolutely should be. So right away I'm going, okay, as we're going through this, as we're chatting, I'm already starting to think, okay, how am I going to change my clinical practice?
Exactly. So some of you might be looking at this and going, core approach, what is that? Core approach is probably most of the things you're already doing. Advice, low dye taping is in the core
Yeah,
approach as well through this. So it's just how this systematic review
interesting.
has presented that information. It's all the stuff that you're usually doing, the strengthening and stretching. They will always be in there. Change of footwear. That's all that's in that. That's what that core approach means. But what Sarah's saying there is that she's not been doing the low dye
Yeah.
taping. Now, in my clinic, right, I certainly don't do it like this. I will do everything that's in that core approach, but our first line is shockwave as well. So we will always, well, not always, can I
Okay.
say always? Yeah, we'll usually go with shockwave early on. The results we get generally are excellent with shockwave, but it's usually, but you can see here with the research, I shouldn't really be looking at that unless the core approach has failed. I should be given that 4 weeks before I go in with shockwave. So it's, that's up to me in terms of I need to maybe communicate that with my patients and give that choice to them and say, actually try this first. And then in 4 weeks' time, if that's failed, we then do a course of shockwave.
I think I nearly by accident have that space because I don't have a shockwave machine. So like that, if I review a patient after I've implemented some of the core treatment, not all as I've said, then if I refer them on to shockwave, it'll naturally be that 4 or 5 weeks.
After.
So again, there's some things that I'm going, oh no, I'm definitely doing that. But now I have a really good reasoning now behind it. So
Yeah.
again, that helps as well that you know you're doing the right thing.
And the evidence on your core approach is there. So even if you look, you don't need to have all these modalities. You don't need. In my clinic, we've got everything you can probably think of. We do, but it's not always that that's the right thing to do. But what certainly in private practice, you're battling patients' expectations of what they want as well.
Yeah.
Do you have experience of that? Like some of them kind of say, no, that's what I want. And you can tell them blue in the face, actually, you should try this first. But if they're adamant, you're weighing the risks and the benefit. If they're wanting that, the risks of shockwave are very low anyway. So why wouldn't you do it? But technically we should be given that core approach first based on the evidence that's there. That's what we should be doing.
I would
It's
get that
that
a little bit more with orthoses. They come in that my heel
mm,
is sore. I want an
I want
orthotic
an
for that
orthotic.
foot. And I'm
You
going,
can see where the
oh,
orthotics are in this, not
yeah,
until
they're
12
not for,
weeks.
yeah, they're not for a good few weeks, which
Yeah.
thankfully, I try and say, okay, no, not yet, because it's not going to make you comfortable. These things are, but at the same time, now I'm going, okay, that's great. I can now say, well, actually, evidence-wise, we wouldn't even consider using an orthotic until this stage. So again, I'm already changing, maybe not my approach, but the language I can use to my patients
Totally.
just by reading a new paper.
And having that confidence yourself and saying, actually, the evidence shows this is the gold standard, is this first. If you fail at that, this is the next stage. Orthotics are, I think sometimes, certainly as podiatrists, I've certainly heard this from patients where, oh, if you go to a podiatrist, they'll just give you a pair of insoles. They give you insoles for everything.
Oh,
Oh, I hate hearing that, and certainly we don't do that. But that's sometimes what's coming back, public perception. Um, it's knowing where and when you're going to use these things, and we know that orthotics, well, based on the evidence. I mean, I knew this anyway. We don't always give orthotics are
no.
usually a bit further down the line for us anyway. However, see, saying that though, Sarah, I'll sometimes give a
I was
pair of
going to say,
orthotics early on to offload. It
but the
depends on the
other
patient.
side is if you're thinking, like, again, I suppose this is where you'll have to tailor it to individual patient needs, because if you're looking at, say, for example, the plantar heel pain is a little bit more in the medial band, and
Uh-huh.
you notice that you're not getting that high gear toe off, you're not getting that tensile stress through the fascia because windlass isn't being activated. An orthotic can be really good at getting toe off through the first. So again, and that's where I suppose you'd be kind of querying it. But again, it's patient dependent. But I do appreciate in the bigger scheme of things, yeah, I don't think that.
But it's just, I suppose, ethically, if you were going in first line with a custom set of orthotics, you've got to really be asking yourself, is that based on the evidence? It isn't what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Right. But I think as long as, I know that sometimes patients want that, and I think as long as it's how you use that language and
exactly
see that,
and your justification.
Yeah.
So from this paper, I suppose we've done a lot of talking about it. We both obviously read it beforehand, but I suppose right away you've done a search, clicked on the first paper literally online that was in the queue, and right away we're now already going, okay, well, I know I need to add taping, absolutely. And I'm already going, okay, now I can use this language with patients if they do want an orthotic and I really don't feel like they need it. So I already have two things, and I've just come from clinic. Like it's not that I'm brand new or, in college, and I've still picked up two really important things just from reading through this.
Completely, like you always will. I know that a lot of the information in this you can disregard. You don't need to be looking at really a lot of it. You can, but it's not. It's about that judgment of knowing that what you're looking at is quality and taking it, not just taking it verbatim, but you're able to take it with a bit of a pinch of salt and look at, how big's the sample size? Is there any bias? Who's funded this? All of that stuff who's written this paper and what was the reason for writing it? Like really always ask yourself that. Never trust what's out there. If this has been sponsored, if papers have been sponsored by a big company, there's usually a reason for it. They're trying to sell you something.
Yeah.
So here's all the interventions down this one. You've got custom orthotics, prefabbed, shockwave, focus shockwave, a combination of radial and focused. So that's just basically focus shockwave is deeper than your radial shockwave. It's a kind of different head that they put on. Dry needling. What is wheatgrass? What is that? I've not heard that. Don't know. I don't actually know what that is. I need to read what that is.
Like, we'll have to look it up.
What's that? What's wheatgrass? Anybody know what that is? Calf stretching, we know. Low dye taping is your taping. Yeah. Now, what some of you might be thinking about is, well, how do you know what the right amount of like rehab is, or the right stretches are, or the right taping technique, or if you've got shockwave, your treatment protocols for that? Like, how do you know how many treatments they need? Where do you go from there? So now that you know, right, okay, I know that first line would be this, second line would be this, and I can build a treatment plan. But how long does that treatment plan take? Where can I find that from evidence? How do I know how to start to then structure my plan based on the evidence? Well, that's why I always start with a systematic review, because then you can then reverse engineer the studies that they've then looked at. So if I was particularly wanting to go and look at the low dye taping, I could essentially just like look here, and this is usually, I think this is usually just 22. So I can literally just go and find that paper.
Yeah, so you can copy that.
Yeah, see if you just copy it. Let's just do it real time. Let's do it. Let's see what happens. And then I'm going to be SG naughty as ever.
But this is exactly
what
I was doing, because I was reading this going, oh God, I have tape in the clinic. I've used it for other things. And actually a friend of mine did a chat at the Northern Ireland conference, and she was showing videos of taping and everything, and I was like, okay, taping is now hitting me in the face. I need to start doing it. And
we do always do that. We've got a set protocol in clinic for like plantar fasciopathy. But as I said, we are generally shockwave from day one. So that's definitely something I need to consider. Right. I'm going to just add a paper here. This is the research rabbit that I showed you in week 1.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for papers, this is where we go. So I'm basically, see what I've done there? I've just copied that in. You could just put that into Google Scholar as well. You don't need
That's
to
what I was
use
going to
it.
say. I use that a good bit for if I'm looking for one specific random paper, I just pop it into
Just look
Google.
it up. Yep. Right. So I think that's that. Form by, there we go. Effectiveness of right. So effectiveness of low dye taping. Right. So what we can then do from here. So we'll kind of leave all this just now. Right.
You need a little bit bigger, Sarah Jane. Sorry.
A bit bigger. That's all right. Let me just control.
I only learned that during the week, but isn't it so handy?
Really good. Bigger's better. Right. How's that looking? A bit better.
Perfect. Yeah.
So if we click on this, it'll take, see how you can see there it's highlighting the PDF. So it'll just take me straight to the PDF. Hopefully it's a freebie. And there we go. Right, let's make that bigger. Here we go. Let's see. So you can see what we're doing here. We've found the papers, we've found the research that they've found, and we're now going to go and dig a wee bit deeper, reverse engineering what they want. So if I want to find out the best taping technique, I need to go and find the paper that had that in. What was the protocol? What did they do? What did they use? How often did they do it? How long did it last? And it might not tell me all of that, but it's certainly going to be a good start. And then I could maybe reverse engineer this paper as well if I want to.
Exactly. Or see who cited it.
Go and read other references around it.
Yeah.
So, okay. So this is, what kind of study is this?
It's a randomized trial. I was just going to say that hierarchy, it's just a little
fabulous.
A little down.
And then 92 patients. That's mean age of 50 plus 14. And then plantar heel pain, blah, blah, blah. So you can read all this protocol. Let's see what they did. 3 minutes.
There's your camera. We can't see you.
What did they have?
We can hear you. Can't see it. Yeah.
Keep switching me off. It's not a bad thing, Sarah.
There you are. There you are.
Hello. So I'm hoping there'll be a wee, oh, look at that. Juicy.
Lovely.
Yeah, people, look at this. Right? So you can start to build your skills based on, finding the evidence. And so you might have no fancy tech in your clinic. You don't need it. You can see that first line was standard stuff. Okay. Rehab, education, change of footwear, low dye taping. That's it. That's your first line.
And then because my clinic like that don't have shockwave, and in the Republic of Ireland we still can't inject. So again, I suppose my scope isn't as big as I'd like. However, there's no reason why I can't utilize all the first line. I have referral pathways to shockwave and injections, and if the person needs, I can then do orthoses. So like that, I don't have all the tech. I will someday, but
you don't necessarily need it. No. And don't be wrong. My clinic is 90% of the patients that come through our door is MSK. That's just the type of place it is. So it makes sense for us to have those kind of things. It's our shockwave machine is beasted. It's used a lot. We have laser as well. The research on laser for this is terrible. It's poor. You've not even seen it. It didn't even come up on that because it's just here. We tend not to use it for shockwave unless their foot is so painful, really swollen and red, because using shockwave on that, they would hit the roof.
Yeah, so I have a patient that wouldn't tolerate shockwave, and I was wondering what,
We would use the laser for that. It does help calm it down. It does help. Just reduce the pain and calm the inflammation. It does, certainly when you've got that big raging heel, it's just raging. But I have to say, see the taping. See if you tape somebody and you do it well, they will love you, because it gives them immediate relief. It really does. And it doesn't need to always be zinc oxide. So see in this, zinc oxide is, look, it will really support them, but it will irritate their skin. It won't last. They'll maybe only get one day out of it. So you need to consider that patient, very quickly. that will not be there. It might just give them enough to get over that day, but then as soon as they get it wet, we will most of the time use kinesiology tape. Now,
Yeah.
kinesiology tape has a stretch in it.
Yeah.
And we
I use it
always
for
use
plantar
a
tape.
brand called Rock Tape. I am not affiliated. It's more expensive, but it lasts.
It stays
Very
on for
good
ages.
quality. So if you see lots of sports people, you'll see them. They have like funky. I mean, oh my goodness, I always buy the most ridiculous colours just to annoy everybody, like rainbow or pink or bright orange. They're like, oh my goodness, just get black, Sarah Jane. No.
Did you ever see that meme? And it's that lady covered in rock tape of all different colours. And the caption is like, I think you should just stay home. Like, she has so much on her.
She's like, just taped up.
She's held together by tape. Like,
so when you're working with rock tape, right? So when you pull it and you pull it to 100, so you're working with the tensile strength and tape. So when you pull it, you're wanting about a kind of 80% pull on it. I know you're like, what? So you pull it to 100% and then you just ease it off a little bit. You have your anchor ends where you've got no pull. So I'll always just go from that kind of medial kind of malleolus right around, right up into the perineals. And I'll have that anchor, no pull, take it round, 80% pull on it, take it right the way up and right up into the perineals. And then an anchor point with no pull on it. Sometimes I'll put a little like right along where the tuberosity, the calcaneus is, where that pain point is. I'll maybe do a few. So I don't specifically always tape like that. I sometimes do, depending on the patient, but if I rock tape them, they'll usually get 7 days out of it. 7 days. They can shower with it. They don't need to do anything with it. And it very, very, very rarely causes any issues with their skin. Very rare. And you can easily, so with my patients, I give them a little stash away. So and I show them how to apply it themselves. So they've got a wee video they watch and they can then apply it themselves, which is, they absolutely love it. So certainly reach out if you're like, how do I do that? I can ping you videos of what we
you could throw it in, if you have the video, maybe throw it in the comments, because we're chatting about it.
Not in this eye.
Not right now. No.
Yeah, like, I later on. But essentially that in itself, it costs, I think, a roll of rock tape £8 to £12, somewhere in that. Like, it's not mega. You can get kinesiology tape a lot cheaper. Do not waste your money.
No, it falls off.
It's so bad. Just pay the extra and get a really good quality of tape. And I think if you reach out to me, I can probably get you a discount code. I've usually got a few kicking about where you can get 50% off and stuff. But the taping, to be honest, more than most things, you'll have patients leaving your clinic that day feeling a lot better. And you're then giving them a tool that they can then use to get them over that hump. Especially we've got loads of nurses coming in that are just in agony. They need to be on their feet. But all the stuff that you're doing, your first line, your patient education, the changing of the footwear, the stretching, the strengthening, is all what you should be doing.
Yeah, because I'm doing that and they're getting on well. But then like that, reading the evidence, reading, even when you look at the patient actually evaluations and what feels good and what's working, taping's just coming up. So right away I'm going, okay, I could, like, I'm doing grand by my patients, but I could be doing better. And that's why, like that, engaging in research, it just makes you just adapt. And it's not massive changes. I have tape, I tape other things, but now I'm just going to spend that little bit extra time. And it's all just from reading up and chatting to other podiatrists and hearing
and look at, just taking a wee look at the research. Hopefully just by doing this, that it shows you how you don't need to be overwhelmed by looking for research. We're scratching the surface here, right? But that's the whole point of this series. We're not teaching you to be researchers here. We're teaching you to just find good quality research and be able to apply it, be able to actually use it, and how to find the stuff you're looking for. So you've honestly go for a systematic review first, because they've done all the nitty-gritty for you, right? They've done all the hard work for you. and then dissect based on what you're looking at. Oh, actually, right, because there's no point in you looking at shockwave if you don't have a shockwave.
No.
It's good for you to know that, because you want to be able to do the best things for your patient and network and then refer on. But you don't need to look at the protocols of that if you're not, doing it. You're thinking about your clinic, right? Well, here is what I've got. What should I be doing? How often should I be seeing this patient? Dig into the research and look at what they found was better. And then you can confidently say to your patients, well, actually, research shows that if I see you between every 7 to 10 days and we do this and we review your exercises and we do X, Y, Z, then your outcomes are likely to be better. However, there's no requirement for you to do that, but you can confidently create this protocol in your clinic that gives you, that's evidence-based. It doesn't mean to say that you always 100% follow it. It gives you it's like a recipe to a dinner.
Yeah.
Sometimes you add a wee flavour in. Sometimes you've got to change some things for different patients, but you've at least got an outline and a place to start.
And the other thing is that especially the newer papers, systematic reviews will have certain criteria. So the papers that the trials, or like the paper we're reading right now, has to meet a certain standard in order to get into their systematic review. So I think for the paper on best management or management of plantar heel pain, it had to have a minimum of 38 participants. Do you know?
Which is a lot, yeah.
Which is a lot when it comes to plantar heel pain, So that's the other thing. The systematic review will kind of wipe out the shite or the studies that maybe
totally, yeah. It's doing the work. It's doing a lot of the work for you. But just don't feel overwhelmed by all the stuff. Remember, in research, every time we are doing something, we've got to justify why we're doing it. We've got to leave breadcrumbs for those coming behind us, picking up that research. Research is never done. We're always building on it. We're always learning from it. So that's why when you read stuff, you'll always have, this is how it was done. This is it, because you've got to show exactly what you've done. It's got to be open, honest, non-biased, and be able to, no matter who did it, be able to replicate that and they would get the same results. But that can sometimes, you just think, this just means gobbledygook in real life. How can I apply this? But hopefully you can start to see, well, you just pick the elements where it's specific to what you're looking at. Have, as Sarah said, be able to look at the sample size and reflect on that and think, is that decent? Now, you might not know at this point, is a sample size of 30 a lot? Is a sample size of 1,000 a lot? It's all relative, but certainly in things like this, a sample size of kind of 50 plus is pretty excellent. I'd be happy with that with my PhD. That's a lot. It is a lot. But if you were thinking about that collective data that they'll have got in that systematic review, collectively that will be thousands of participants that will be in that one study, and they're then synthesizing that. So that's what a meta-analysis is. They'll take all that and start to make, actually, does that work? What does it tell us? So your systematic reviews are a really nice place to start to get info, but it's then how you kind of dig deeper and you start looking at the papers that they've looked at. All right, there isn't, it's not beautiful, but that is it's what we do. This is this research rabbit. So see that paper that we've just looked at with the low dye taping. So see if you look, I don't know if that is that big.
It's not big enough, sorry.
Let me make it bigger. Is that big?
Yeah, I can see it now, yeah.
Right. So see how we've got the paper there, the selected paper, effectiveness of low dye taping for short-term treatment of plantar heel pain, right? So what we've got similar work, all references, all citations. So this is quite nice. So say, for example, you were wanting to see where they got their information from.
Yeah.
Let's click and see. So here you go. Look, interventions for treating plantar heel pain. That's quite interesting. So you can actually then start to I mean, I love this. I love a wee visual. You can see here all the papers and how they're all linked. But you can then start to dig a wee bit deeper. So when you get quite interested in something and you want to just dig, you will. It's like a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
If you're looking, no matter what you're looking for, you might be looking for, what are the best exercises for plantar heel pain?
Yeah.
What
What
they?
are the stretches that they're talking about?
All
You
there
know,
for you. It's just clicking, going to your systematic review, finding the bit where they're talking about it. All the references will be linked. The wee numbers in the papers will link straight to the references. You just copy and paste that, put it into Google Scholar or put it into Research Rabbit, as I've done here, and you'll find it. And then you can then get the best practices or where they've pulled that from, and
yeah.
you'll have that there.
So I'll be able to now look. I now know, okay, going to introduce taping. I know I keep using that as an example, but it's just so handy.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
easy as well. Okay.
you pulled up the paper and then it'll tell me exactly how to
What
do
to do?
it.
Yeah.
You know, and why to do it. So then when I'm introducing it to patients, going, okay, I know last time you're here for a review. I didn't tape it that last time, but now I'm going to, and this is why. And I'll be able to explain to them why and that it's evidence-based, and I'll know how to do it.
Yeah.
So
I think
that's how practical it is.
You'll feel a lot better in your practice. You're possibly doing things that I was like, for example, right, I was on a webinar the other night, and I'll not mention what it was because it's a very, very well-known brand, and it was training for. I'll not say what it is because you've been figuring
because
out.
I was like, it'd be too easy.
I'm just going to keep it so vague. Sorry, but I need to. But essentially, the person that was on there was a nurse, and she was works for quite a big hospital, and one of the questions, she had recommended a particular thing to be done, and somebody asked, well, why do you recommend that? And she was very open and honest, and she literally said, I actually don't know. A consultant once told me to do that, and I've just always done it ever since. Now, I bet you there's loads of things that we all do in practice that you maybe learned at university. You were just told by a lecturer, or you were told by somebody that's what you do. I'm not that type of person. I'm like, well, no, I couldn't cope with that. I would need to know. I'm not going to get, but so be inquisitive, find like, well, why is it that way? Why is it that protocol is that? Why is somebody telling me that I have to do this? Why is that? Because you'll then be able to confidently be able to treat your patients and tell them why you're doing something. If you're ever questioned, you're able to say, well, this is why, that the evidence shows that actually XYZ, this is why it's recommended we do this. So don't be in that position. When I was cringing on this webinar thinking, good God.
Yeah, but it's so easy. Like I don't like the word lazy, but it's so easy to just go, oh, well, like I was taught that it worked once, grand. But like at the same time, I find anyways, when I have the evidence behind me, I'm much more confident. And then my patients are much more confident in me because they're, they hear how I'm explaining it. My body language, I'm much more relaxed. I'm able to tell them the ins and outs and the whys and answer all their questions. And their compliance has increased. So it has not just you have evidence-based practice, but you'll also come across better, and your patient compliance, the correlation is there. And it's just, and also, as you said, I know we don't like to talk about it, but you have to have yourself backed by evidence-based practice. Otherwise, you're really leaving yourself open for issues.
Yeah, issues. If anything happens and somebody's not happy with what you've done, if you can't explain why you've done something, you've got a problem. But it's irrespective of all that. That is all very important. But honestly, I genuinely do believe you'll enjoy your job a lot more.
Yeah,
you'll really enjoy, because no matter what you're interested in and what you want to specialise in, or something you really enjoy or you want to learn more, you're able to access that. You have this at your fingertips. It's just knowing where to go
Or how to
and what
start.
to do with it. It's all there. And I think when you realise or you can see it as all there, I think that my perception is I think that we get a bit overwhelmed with all this, and the way that research is written is like bleh, it's just dry. It's not it's not very user friendly. But when hopefully going through this with me and Sarah, that we've kind of debunked a lot of that and shown you how to really unpick and find quality that will help you. But do you think we've delivered these four? Is it 4 sessions we've done? Is it 5? This is 5.
I think this is our 5th one. Yeah. Hopefully. I mean, I know I'm getting a bit more comfortable. I know I do it anyway, but like even like that, I was kind of going before this one. I was like, right, let's do a quick search, and it actually was a very, very quick search, and I still got the same things that you got. So like that, I think that once you kind of know where you're going, know what you're looking for, it should just be a quick search. Maybe once a week you do 10-15 minutes, and then it just gets easier.
And it doesn't need to be taxing and boring.
No.
Like just have a wee scoot about and see what's there. Speak to your colleagues. Find a group of people that you can talk to, or go on courses, get involved, ask questions. Just what you involved. I had a student message. It was Zoe from ZW Clinics that pinged it over actually, and it was somebody who's interested in getting involved in rheumatology, and what's our role in rheumatology and podiatry? I'm like, my goodness,
I saw that post.
Yeah, and I hope that it's clear to see there's massive roles there, no matter what it is.
Yeah, my friend,
whatever way you want to go, but you just have to get involved. You just have to. There isn't this clear pathway for stuff.
But like, they're like even sports podiatry in Ireland was unheard of, really. Like it's so new, but you just kind of go, well, I want to do that. I'm interested in that, so I'm just gonna keep going. And even like my friend Christopher Joyce, when you talk about rheumatology, we went to school together in Athenry, which is just so funny, like our secondary school. But he like definitely didn't have a clear pathway, but he just said, this is what I'm interested in, this is what I'm doing. So it's lovely to see.
It's just when you genuinely want to do something and you have an interest in it, the doors just open and you just ask questions, you meet people, you just get involved, and you just sometimes you just can't have it all planned out. I'd love to see
it.
It doesn't, but you just keep going and work out just keep going, keep reaching out. And if it's something you're interested in, there's absolutely jobs there. And I think certainly with rheumatology, certainly within the NHS, there's great jobs, band 7 jobs, if that's the route that people want to go. Yeah, there'll be masters to do, there'll be PG certs to do, but you just do that through your process. It's all just part of learning. You're always learning.
But that's part of it as well. If you just dip your toe into research, you actually might find that you really like learning about a certain aspect. And actually research, there's so much opportunity, even if it's part-time, even if that's how you get into your PG cert, or look at you still PhD, like right now I'm like, how am I going to do that? But the more I search, the more I'm kind of doing it, the more I'm like, oh yeah, probably will do one at some stage. And I was someone who hated research, so it is funny, but you do get to like it, which is the weirdest thing ever. I promise.
I genuinely do. If you're watching a certainly student or somebody, clinician that's maybe not done anything and really kind of looked at stuff in a while, I think that sometimes there seems to be this black magic or cloak or something that's unattainable, that academics or researchers or people that are doing further things have some sort of wizardry power.
No.
Or they're super bright or big brains or whatever it is. Honestly, no. It's just basically stubborn, crazy people. it's just a stamina test. That really is it. And I'll be very honest, so far, don't get me wrong, certainly PhD level, that it's not that it's not difficult, it's more just you're thinking, you're creating something new. So you have to read a lot. Right? You have to kind of find your and really start thinking at a deeper level. People are not spoon feeding you stuff. So you're having to really understand in depth a certain area and then take it to something that's relevant. What is it you're trying to do? So it's just a deeper way of thinking, but it's not, oh God, I'll probably live to regret saying it's not massively difficult. It really isn't. It's just a different way of thinking and then applying that. How are you going to do it? So don't ever think you can. You absolutely can. If there's something you want to do, want to achieve, want to go on and study, or want to further your career or get involved, get involved. Don't be afraid of don't ever be afraid of failing, because failure, at least you've tried. Just pick yourself up and go on with it again and get it done again. You learn from it, but you'll never ever regret doing it. You'll always regret not doing it if it's something that you want to do. So don't feel you're too old or you've not got enough this or time, or there's always ways. So get involved in whatever it is you want to do, strive for it and do it. And research gives you've got everything at your fingertips. It gives you it really will give you an immense amount of confidence to just
stand your ground.
When you're sitting in that clinic chair, what's coming out your mouth, you're giving the best advice that you can give.
Yeah, and I find it gave me confidence as well when I was speaking to other podiatrists, because I know when I was a new grad, I was kind of thrown into speaking. I was kind of speaking at a stand at conferences and with much more experienced podiatrists. But what I just did was I looked at all the research in that area. And then if someone asked me a difficult question or anything, I had the research to back me up. And then they were like, oh, she isn't just talking shite. Right, okay. And it started to open doors for me. And I swear it was just by having a little research search and having a little bit of an idea, built my confidence a little bit more. Then I was able to ask more questions and learn more, and it just snowballed from there. So I'm not saying research did everything, but it gave me that bit of confidence to, as you say, take the next step or jump or whatever.
And there'll always be, so like that, if you're going on and you're there'll always be some like nothing's ever right, nothing's ever black or white. There is no this or that. There's always the in between, and as long as you're okay with that, because it's very rare for something to be absolute. That, like, so you heard me and Zara talking about how we treat plantar heel pain. It's different, okay? So there'll always be little nuances and ways that you'll change it, but it's having that confidence in what you're delivering and having that, being able to have that conversation with your patient to give them the choice. It's their choice. And as long as the benefits outweigh the risks, then you can build that management plan based on the best advice, based on the research, the most up-to-date evidence-based research that's there. It gives you so much more enjoyment in your work, confidence in your work. You'll grow, you'll just feel much better in what you're delivering. And you can do that for anything, whether you're looking at verruca treatments, whether you're looking at, heel pain. It doesn't matter what it is, but it just gives you that confidence in your ability to deliver the best for your patients, and you knowing that is the best that's there. Yay.
Sounds good. I think we end on that.
We do. So this is me and Sarah's research has come to an end.
Yeah.
Hopefully, do you think everybody's enjoyed it? I don't know. Is that me there? We've left
there. We go.
So it's now dark. It was late. So I think Michael Stevenson is trying to blackmail us or something to do more.
Yeah,
we'll see. we'll see. But certainly do feedback in, and please reach out to myself or Sarah if there's something. Look, doors are always open, and I would say that for most people in podiatry, like we're a fairly small bunch. I think for most people, they're happy for you to reach out and ask for help. Certainly, anybody I have, I've never had the door closed to me.
No.
So yeah, reach out. Any closing remarks, Sarah?
Nope.
No,
I think you've said it all.
Right. So we will see you maybe again. If not, have a fabulous. This is a Tuesday, isn't it? Have a fabulous Tuesday.
Yeah.
And we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye. Oh, we're still live.
We are live.